Name my bets on Facebook. Show no essence to live. Our street is watching on Facebook and FM ABN Radio 1. And the mamutie ewe my bets online radio no in chakese nko obi bi oti anopai or sounds we ne anopai ewie meeting at Vincent Moneyman atnase enche yebeko na or the my bet education ama ye ne nsem bebre na ene wapono so ne yebe rewrem yebeko na ye ne list o mensa ene okope mo Abidjan ye ne betwetwe nkomo na ono so ede ne views enso ede aba show no so hye say ne virus ene tena fide na chi a o chinchim niama ama bibia enso ayeya enye fade akrakra ne a lot of things and also yeah they ba okopie mu e Liverpool and Newcastle game masa I am still say no they didn't play football money man no betima mo ni other one so what one my yepa because I am still say no man about football because football set pieces and throwing kwano no tactics and your football but no oh my and no St James Park they I think that if you're a fan of Liverpool or you're a fan of Newcastle, you are watching the game, you go through all the spectrum of emotions. And I mean, at least one of the best games so far, I know, this year. One of the best games so far. I'm hoping that the second leg in the day, we don't know the reception. Liverpool for the Momo, our Anfield. Now, the latest be about regarding Alexander Isak and in Newcastle. And the Saudi private public investment fund PIF for now and then Newcastle for your money and the minority owner Jacob Rubins and before the game opinion in Saudi for you say on your chairman for Newcastle Yasser Al Rumayyan since February now on by Newcastle stadium where Emma Michelle but the last time on share Newcastle game was when on ball a year against Liverpool Wembley. Since then, they haven't played, and now Nyama share Newcastle game but then he was there to watch the team Abra Omoni Newcastle, but for the first time since February, until before Obeba Park no Omoni Alexander Isak, could chichen komo in paying for me and sa, and then Omoni no coach chichen komo and a report in say in commodity deny say Isak will not leave Newcastle. Nti emrepamuno me the update ni meba report be na eba kana echuku emeka Chelsea Dortmund finally omari bibia aba ne say no can Xavi Simons move to Chelsea Alejandro Garnacho can he move to Chelsea you decide details thing now so betimi e dey aba ene Newcastle for no omo de bid echo say nke Wolves for enjoy Abraham den last name or striker last season or share 14 goals he provided 4 assists Wolves for say they are not going to sell him and they money every Abraham den edit wesa so all of these transfers updates remember Nicholas Jackson ni Jetabekasa or say ni player no actually 30 goals in 2 seasons for Chelsea without a single penalty but yes still there's a lot of options for the player Bayern Munich and Abraham and Nicholas Jackson and so I agree personal terms now it's love with Bayern Munich so on Chelsea so be other teams are heading at Newcastle Aston Villa any other clubs ning now so eguso omoni Abraham no etwetwe nkomo ye bewremu na ye decide details in your this and many more and ye de ba shan so nyame odome Champions League games e wo ho nti ye de us the no chenche no ebeba na nei wonso anya bi atwa games are avoidable say any say the ensako ho kra na ba be maye any red flag in ye green apples and ye expecting ke benya no ye be hwe ne ye yisa ne mani nyina so e de free money man atrase ye beko na or the educational and so my bet education aba ye pe na ya go straight into the conversation ne nyame adoma ye be have money man akwaba
yeah Vincent mejo so
na bibia boko
on
say right in the IBZ
enwani me yaba bibia boko na ozi dey na ekọ
ai money man no
enem pese ye Liverpool we ni mu a me pese wo be apology bi ama Hugo Ekitike
Samo
yes memo a public apology ama Hugo Ekitike
apology ben
ye be me chewa dey nti as o
public apology me public apology
Emma Hugo Ekitike
Hugo Ekitike
yes any Liverpool fans na omo
why she go against 10 man Newcastle
there be enye ni go wa hye ba de be ba so nti ye nko my bet education nti ye ko my bet education de obi enim se betting platform ene you betimi aface ka wo MYBET.AFRICA time bi am bet na ha futu am de ma no indra Atletico Bilbao ene di minya enye sa anka my bet for bet builder no income the face game mu do ye papa be nei Atletico Bilbao o mi share go ba akopɛ o mentimi anhye bi anka ho and a match in the copy me wie join MyBet ebusua no very simple steps now I join MyBet ebusua ko www.mybet.africa browser mu okwa top right corner abehu icon bi a circle ni green umia so abehu login register register I mean register so 3 simple steps now they are registered. The first one o mobile money number now phone number or transactions into and they say we do MyBet utimi scan book or eba beto account. The next one your username our person of the tour bet me is nickname mu fie din bi our person of the tour be out me the tour but so the din bi tour na bi o mo tro say edin no bi wode da metu fu sefa number ba ko mienu kan te na be ma na unique or platform this one amount. The next one your password ube password any confirm password ni na ya de ba ko nti password abebo password no confirm password na both the same thing shall umia uwia bo register so MyBet for best send verification code now they verify our account no now they about become MyBet ebusua no kai say ene season na sha ase no MyBet my offers be bra kwan bia so no ye bet media fiscal on platforms ne so early payout option ene ya de ba kwa manage ho see teams no Liverpool o share 2 no atena ho ani abetete ndua ko Liverpool early payout anka akoma hye kopi mewie no nke bia woni omu ni saa de no kra waji usika ko din aka bonus 1500% up to eno de man say ne wo your selection for the weekend no now unim say MyBet for 1500% no de ma no bonus no betimi ayedu now potential winning nso mu ayedu omu wi a bet hye nanse ayedin teams ne ha adwen ye nti ene wo hu abonse bibi wo kwan chi say fatim wo bo nu aba bese no enu nti MyBet for at the bet feet aba with bet feet option no selections no map expect betting expert for pa mo me di bet ni mu ache eno my selections egu nti ene ade a wo hia de be wura ho ye bet o ot ahia ope nti on lower bar no be hu bet fit mi anso a ot ni de bebre kwa ofa ot na de kakra ta echi obetimi ayedete ayi mu ayede ope se bi ene team no why am I in straight win ba onya yanka oba ni win or draw no so wasesa no se ne obetimi afase kan ti umpe we opeden MyBet.Africa om so maba aba beboa ediska eba betu yemboto.
All right, eno money man na otin kan MyBet education or my how e betimi ediska na yeni agility. Yes, money man yen hwe transfers no. Okay. Yes, yen hwe transfers no na afi yen fan run Newcastle game any other options I betimi abanyame admin.
Yes, with transfers I think the latest transfer obiti on be at a Man U na say yen come transfer honsem because all share players are no mo hwe so betimi enyom that is Mbuemo Kunia any Sesco no say see o ma ba join team na still Ruben Amorim ne nsa no enkwan ne mbosa nti wo hwe against Fulham mo bre ba ye hwe say omo hwe outgoings say Man United outgoings here yie pa especially some person mo balance your books outgoings ni ade ba kwa so many cost na Rasmus Højlund ye na nim say AC Milan the contract mu efe pa bre Man United na I think me be kan as transfer and a loan fee with obligation to buy me who be that so be beju play alone now as an catch us at the end of the season metono but ne salary na me cover no no dey say clubs ni betimi negotiate sir but AC Milan present say there na Rasmus Højlund we ntimi anja ntoma nkwa enei ohwe Man United oba be surplus to requirement team no asisi on ka ho because match day squad beba na ni dinim nti enei Napoli aboewem omo nso e dey offer emu efe yi aba be Man United eni omo hwe say Rasmus Højlund beba be come mo ama bibi etimi akoyi na ohwe contractor or present it to Man United. I think as of now, Man United there, who the BBA ball mobeji because any American outgoings adeba kwa so mutimi epe no mutimi tutuni ye send your musika sem no so betima kom na nen omo hwe package loan fee ni there undisclosed but omo hwe package of 45 million on person omo the Man United the agreement ni say so omo be sign ni there omo hwe from now to 2030 it meaning say Rasmus Højlund to Napoli so court loan no ko bon homodin omo hwe say with a 5-year contract and omo de betu n'anim a bibia betimi akoye na o hwe as a player Antonio Conte coach be a very disciplined now pe coach or player improvement otimi boama players timi do the highest speaker Antonio Conte one of the coaches and they moving to Napoli adeba ko be bra Højlund because Lukaku timi apeki injury with 2-3 months obe missing Napoli games and omo hia that number 9 obekwa akoto ne other Man United players on omo share that is McTominay mo e wo ho am betimi abo mo modi I think say a player bia or a lot of potentials. But when to me and amani development need to me and do the peak and send we move here to a big club. Into Atlanta or she just 9 goals, but ni gameplay no very good. To move to United. So back to Italy. Or your favorite and or good and I think everyone man need to develop here. Maybe in the next year, in the next 2 years. So Intiman Bambe, one of Napoli's top strikers, or bet me move it to one of the best teams in Europe. The modern born bet me akoye. But 10 year time be a meba have can or a Man United fan. Intina, I don't know. Said there will be a time he will be pushed to come back to Man United. You're Man United, you're Garnacho. I think Garnacho and Sem no time be a semi betting is still conversation course between Chelsea and Man United, and Alejandro Garnacho are show very clear say quite be no so be move it to any club Chelsea, the likes of Bayern Munich the likes of teams like Keseni now but why not doing say Chelsea no person about. I don't know if the reason is to play in the Premier League and show Man United the quality of Kuta. And I say he just have love for the Chelsea team and the person who Boma Chelsea. But the back transfer we are store and say the agreement between Man United and Chelsea and I didn't send Bibraba. So Osha as a now Man United value Garnacho at 50 million.
Yeah.
But Chelsea say on who Garnacho I cost right 30. No, I willing to bet you at 25 for Alejandro Garnacho. And Man United are not willing to also accept it. But me who say Chelsea episode slow down the transfer. Kaiser transfer window no. Ebe ending next week here. Until eba ending no Man United outgoings who here. Into meaning say quite be as either say we will see Alejandro Garnacho moving to Chelsea, maybe on a loan move and an obligation to buy sending whom with Jadon Sancho moving to Chelsea no. And I think say player side, no, he's willing to join Chelsea. Chelsea, so I on background checks on the player, and they are seeing Alejandro Garnacho a player they need in their setup. Emma Bibia bet me akoye.
Looks like sadly only there. Definitely a bit go through.
True, yes.
They are just hoping say they can sell some players.
Yeah.
Before
and get it done. Yeah. And then to Chelsea with player sales no. Omo the pressure gumu ye. Now player ba kwase no ho aya mobile Man United team no Kobe Menu. Osha, he was one of the promising young players. Now Man United, they said they can get the best out of him. No more, he said he can go into become the likes of Paul Scholes to be able to perform so well for Man United. But I know he was best surplus to requirement in 2 games at Man United. About Kobe Menu, and even 1 minute to play. About a lot of concern. I'm the player and also some Man United fans. But so Shemwa, Kobe Menu requester or the 2 minutes say ene onya obebo. But Ruben Amorim na catch any say, oh Man United team no position onu Kobe Menu betimi abo. Eye position ene Bruno Fernandes ebo.
Yeah.
Nti ene say oposo otimi eba etimi bebo ne ho modern etimi nya bibo a meaning say eso oni Bruno Fernandes ene pere. Na visa me bisa asem moyo say who team na team captain. Yes we need team captain in pre-positioner. Say na just say opo obi efa no.
Yeah, me I think say Ruben Amorim say he doesn't see Kobe Menu as the number 8.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, as a number 6.
A number 6. So we
now,
see him as a number 8.
If you look at United, it's clear that Bruno Fernandes will be operating from the deep midfield. Ombo, sir, the number 10 rule now no bono.
Yes.
Yeah, because coach no a 5-back system. No about just 2 midfielders. In front of the 3 center backs. Now, if you look at coach Nasamoka, and me, I quite clear say if me somebody close to
Kobe
Menu, I will know say definitely our boy is not going to get playing time. Even if Obenya Bia, probabilities are always all free bench, but very high. And this is Kobe Menu who, at some point, no a playing time, no, got called up to the English national team.
Yes.
And especially at this summer, very important. Agent Bia per se, the player, any playing time, and who not that playing time.
Yeah.
Now, you will get called up to the national team.
Yeah.
Now, Bruno Fernandes by far has been the best player for United for the past 3 seasons. The best player and the most important player for club for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So, a young player. You've had some best moments, some good moments with the team.
Yeah.
But establish Kobe Menu has never established himself as a starter for United. A fact.
But Unjindi said during the past seasons, he was one of the young promising players
No,
coming
you see,
into the United team.
whether I mean, you're promising, potential, but don't you establish your United team? Make a yes, that is what I'm talking. And I make us say, unya establish on. So why establish on? Na say you can say only Bruno na pre for a sporter. That one is different. Obi to say, Dua, Obi to me XCD Bruno Fernandes to get a starting spot ahead of him. So Akwa as a coach, I remember that when Ten Hag season on Pamno, that was the season that Nanka Kobe Menu ever be established as one of the pivotal players on the book behind Bruno Fernandes. At that time, no more a 4-back system. But with this 5-back system, they can never play Kobe Menu and Bruno Fernandes. Yes. Unless the United fans and as the people want Bruno to go and play as that number 10. And say Bruno Kobo that double number one of that double number 10s now. Yeah. It means that the 3 players must spend over 200 million. They still have to sacrifice that because a lot of people are complaining. Say we bought Sesko, we bought Kunha, we bought Mbeumo. Still, Mount. Oh baby, you believe say Kunha bebo, and you risky Benjamin Sesko. Now, if coaching decides now Sesko, Agada will adapt it to how he wants to play. Who should play the midfielder? It's not advisable to play both Kobe Menu and Abrante Bruno Fernandes.
Yes, but maybe so don't you think, sir, Ruben Amorim, player management has been a big problem with this Man United setup? I didn't make us say we saw it with Rashford. Fine. Now there was back and forth on that. You with Garnacho, you with Sancho, you with even time about first. We saw it with Casemiro. There were times he made the fans, the media understand that Casemiro wasn't up to the level or no as a coach person. And Sisi Ampo in recent times, we are seeing it with Andre Onana. And now Kobe Menu is the other victim of this. Don't you think that Amorim, when it comes to player management, even in Rasmus Højlund they are making, when it comes to player management, there is a lot of question marks around him. Because I didn't make us say Kobe Menu in the position of coach Obono. Last season, he played him as a number 10 on several occasions. If I wouldn't,
but was it the best?
And I maybe if I wouldn't lie, playing him as that number 10, Kobe Menu scored at least 3 to 4 goals in that role.
It's amateur said, you see, Kobe Menu growing up is not a number 10.
Yes, but a boy and he adapted to the old coach.
And American currently, let's be honest. The only position at United, Kobe Menu beats me abo. Now, Seka Sedana Martin role. Money man. Both the left side and the right side.
The why true.
Seka say pecking order. If Kunha Ebeba, Mount Beba, any Bruno Beba, it means that Kobe Menu there, Seka say selected squad for the match day na Onyebi. So he's that number 8. But that role is here, because of the inclusion of 3 players. Because of the inclusion of 3 players, Bruno, unless the coach can say Bruno, may anytime I say Bruno is an important player, but sometimes or sometimes a liability for United team. Unless they decide say let's drop Bruno Fernandes and play the boy. So I can saw the Kobe Menu about that DM now. Menu in the Premier League. Kobe Menu is not that type of a DM. Obey me boy a DM Edward G Premier League. He's not. He's a very good player. I'll bet me about that 2 pivotal midfield, no. But then, this is the case that he's competing with the club captain.
Okay.
So to me, in as much as Ruben Amorim, things Niama Mkoye mano, player to player management, in fact, Obayeno, player been improving. And when he was coming to United, Rashford, history United, because when I knew he said Ruben Amorim was coming, he always be an a typical winger back. You hear the words about one typical winger. So when he was coming at United, it means that Garnacho Mone, Sancho Mone, Rashford, no move like some players, especially more right wing, no motivated because Bruno can play that role. And before the coach even step in the foot or current in Honor, he mentioned Mason Mount. At that role now.
That number 10
role na Thomas Tuchel about no. So to me, I think that Thomas Kobe Menu there. If say United can say Now they want to buy a DM. Omuto Baleba. Kobe Menu as the DM, he cannot help you.
But me person me balance any movie to near the Kobe anyway. Don't you think, sir, Ruben Amorim as a coach itself is a problem to this Man United team? I didn't make us and say I think, sir, you have the quality on your bench. Man United form. Say me can start to be Abeka se unjindi. Unim Man United player back when create chance leading to a goal chance. A goalkeeper.
Yeah.
The likes of Bruno, the likes of Cunha, the likes of Messi Man, the likes of Brian Mbeumo, Intimia and yes Adien. And it shows how the system is not making the players perform at their highest level. Intindo and Betina Habeka say their systems that he can switch and he has the quality to be able to fit into one of the best teams or the teams to dominate the Premier League. Intiane say Ube Okobimenu any Bruno Enyeden and we are. The boy hasn't even gotten a minute in the Premier League to prove say ampa. So how we now only Udi mini Bruno Nkopreno. Me be mu against Fulham for 5 minutes no. Me be bo bibi ma who say metimi aye. And that is something I find it very bad with Ruben Amorim. I think say United step in. If they don't step in, we'll see a repetition of ADAC or Musi or club no. Where coach beba obeja players ni bi kwan. No akwa kofe bia ba be shame. No more baby, no more bebo. Na next coach aba. Omo ho no ntimi use so no ejo om kwan. The likes of McTominay muni we mu. Ene omo nam Italy airborne modern war. That shows say if there was a plan by the club, say ene we want to go by this plan, we want to go by this system. Some of the academy graduates, some of the quality players wouldn't be moving around like that. Until I think say we come main way no. I'm feeling bad for the boy and I'm hoping say the agent bet me finding a better solution because a young chap he can't be on the bench all the time.
He has to be playing.
Yes. Andre Santos as a kind. Now Maresca is giving him minute per minute to show say yes, obetimi adapt. You can't use training to judge a player. Into I think Ruben Amorim. Eso timi hwe no timi tutu ne nyama ye ewo. Ye hwe Crystal Palace ene ezekọ. Unim so omuhwe omo enim ho na Mateta sa there is a big hole ewo na in recent times academy player be ababe failure. Omuhwe Pina from team friend Villarreal. Now ene a performance at Villarreal they done in the La Liga in their first 2 games on about no matter first La Liga table this year. That shows that their team is on a good level. The likes of Thomas Partey, the likes of Renato Vega, Otimiane, the first start for the club, and also Jeremy Pina almost put up a good performance. And Crystal Palace, I and Adrian say Jeremy Pina Omunya Ombekwa Fanaba. And I think quality wise, Oma will be bia in that winger. Time bia meka say boy we ain't me the Spanish national team because of Lamine Yamal to me by.
I think he has been with the
team for a long time, but when Timmy that
maybe
starting
level, yes,
because of Lamine Yamal performance. If not that, open winger 1v1 quality on the ball striking ni BBR or Timmy ball number 10 or Timmy ball that is the right wing position. I think say if Crystal Palace etiminyano ewo mu team na or Timmy another creative player coming in, even though say maybe from the Spanish La Liga to the Premier League no a better day say maybe obetimi adapting them. But I think say he can be that key player with less pressure, no, and knowing say Obemwamba be a player like Eze Boot, no, he would feel that confidence to help the Crystal Palace team. Then Crystal Palace no Villarreal says so mbetimi jai player na manakwa, meaning say they are looking at the 50 to 55 million.
Yeah.
So me who say Crystal Palace are Jiska. Into NS what Jiska they are SNZ did movie. Into they are looking at the 50 to 55 say player ni betimi move. Yeah, from personal terms the player is willing to play in the Premier League.
Okay.
Or was I love for the Premier League. So the remaining thing I see say Palace free and copy next week. Would they be able to cost 50 million to 55 for the player? I think say Oliver Glasner show interest. And Enyemwa say at the end of the transfer window, Obetimia join any team a friend Crystal Palace. No, it's my boy the likes of Mateta. And
but I think that Pina joining Crystal Palace, I think it will be a very good sign. Although he's coming to fill in the shoes of Eberiche Eze, who has been with the team for so many years.
Yes, yeah.
An important player for them. But with this guy, I think that if Ojoini Omonas or hit the ground running, him, Sa, and Mateta will be very great. I think it will be a very good. But now I think that they just have to work on more defense because now the situation at Crystal Palace in the money man, Magui, Aka. In 1 year, and 1 year now I can next season when I starting the contract no be free, And boy now my aware say he would want to move to a bigger
Liverpool.
club.
Yes. With Liverpool.
Now they are contemplating to say they should keep it because now if they lose him, it's going to be very key for them.
Yeah.
Because Omo lose a lot of key players. Key players.
Yes.
And losing a Bereche is a Osansuba Beluzu. I think they've almost signed to another player. It is almost Sansubeton go here. It means that Ombeko now, the situation is the boy will not agree to extend the contract unless the gentleman agreement with the release clause be. And now so no go free. So one man this season as next year or go free. He can still play because if me am go here, I will play for Crystal Palace this season. Next year I will join Liverpool because I know that Ibrahim Konate would obviously leave for free
Real Madrid. Yeah.
To Real Madrid. And I say even this is Ukokrana with chances of playing at the World Cup for England. It's slim because Konate and Van Dijk they will always be ahead of you.
Yeah.
So to me, I think that Palace for now they have to work on getting a deal between Omo and Abranton. If the player will agree to stay and extend the contract, then maybe at least he will go with a reasonable amount. Liverpool will be free. And yes, idea with the agreement on to Liverpool for Liverpool want to go and get him this summer. And yes, idea so not till next season. They also Obesanso free. So it's one thing that I think Crystal Palace they have to Oliver Glasner. I mean, Glasner doesn't want to lose him.
Yes.
Oliver Glasner doesn't want to lose him. Because losing him means that we'll lose so much important of key players. And even if the player will move, he wants him to play almost second leg in the Conference League game number one. He wants him to play.
Okay. Mtiye Arsenal. Now, Arsenal they are looking at adding another defender because of my imagine some Bema Kivio. A movie now offer about for Kivio 25 million and he'll be one of the most expensive Arsenal outgoings this season. And Arsenal say Kivio a quadia they need to bring in quality. Send now can kunata asemno. Arsenal also looking at say Saliba no anya lokia ebia Real Madrid money that bet me at 10 in it wait me akwa join him. So they are looking at bringing in additions. Last time maybe didn't come on as a Chelsea that CCB rule and not Chelsea share. So bet me the player be baba be shame. Say Levi Kowali niwa if they are to bring a defender. Ban Leverkusen for defender. I find Paro Hinkapi or no and I know more so bet me dinaba. Ne Arsenal for Abuerim. Omni player na kodi nkomo. Na player na jia tum say ne onya Arsenal obebo. Which I think say Arteta who say some person oje leg na you need to beef up your defense. And so making sure say or attack and your quality and also the other ways it can give you goals. Say ne omode corner account goals in win. Every time the Arsenal na corner is more of like a penalty kick for them. No?
Yeah.
If they are to add a quality centre back to their team, and the likes of Gabriel, the likes of Saliba, the likes of Caliaflori, the likes of Timbamo, if there is no injuries, they will have quality coming in. Say they can go on and win the Premier League. So Hinkapi, Arsenal for need in come now. As of now, the players agree to join us now. On one why now doing say he wants to leave Bayern Leverkusen before the end of the transfer window, and they Arsenal for any need in come na Bayern Leverkusen for Vincent. Omo say so more key player na kwadia meaning say ese skanimu yedu.
Yeah.
Se skanimu anye dupan dia one obom ho money won kasa. So as of now, information and cost they are looking at the 50 to 60 million, which it will take Arsenal spending above any other team in the Premier League. Spending because Eze, Madueke, Uche Hinkapi Bekaho and the likes of Zubimendi, Norgard.
I think Kevo.
Yes, or no Beko, yes. Or Namika said they will look at him going into a loan. Yes, on Pese alone, then Nassi or Maher so bit me at Tonyama ye elho. Jenra Chelsea. Now I think say a same way time be home come I think Chelsea team no, Chelsea sporting directors, the blue coat in whole no. I say they should be steady about the way they do their transfers. Vincent, I think Ushe Enea, Klaba Ene before the end of this transfer window, mate me catch us say Chelsea a bet me free time at Todboli Mubabe so team no. Bet me the transfer spending and a transfer outgoing money. A bet me a year to get into $1 billion. That shows the quality Chelsea for Itimia Bomb more than since 2022.
Okay.
Ometimia Tom players income is equal to 821 million.
Wow.
800.
Definitely the amount on the enable head insane.
Yes. But on say do baby a ultimate but ne ton na edin. And Man United or Tom players are anything. Arsenal ton players any day. Even the likes of Liverpool and Omutimi we move with friends and Luis Diaz mono. But Chelsea from time at Todd move for a team no. 821 million in player sales. Teams are the likes of Benfica and him say Benfica is selling club.
Yeah.
Oshe Atlanta is selling club. Ajax is selling club. Brighton selling club. It meaning say Oshe this top 5 and our top 5 teams are waha. Chelsea penny the only team and ni yembu say be a selling club. Benny transfers or more ye. And at this number no, it doesn't include the likes of Disasi or Beko Bournemouth. It doesn't include even the likes of Chuku Emeka Obe movie. It doesn't include the likes of Nicholas Jackson's Obe movie in Kunku. And also the likes of Sterling Mo and Omuna. So as before the end of this transfer window, Vincent Enyem was a Chelsea incomings on sales able to do $1 billion, which shows the quality they are selling out and the quality they are bringing in. Now, yeka quality as a Nicholas Jackson in Semling Kakanka.
Okay, before Obeko Jackson, yes. I would want to, have a take on this.
Yes.
You see, when the Americans came to buy the team, they can't say, they are not. Any profit benefiting from Kenya. I think for the next 10 years.
Yes.
And these are business people. When they came to Chelsea, Chelsea culture, and me mention says it's going to be very hard for us because in the Chelsea co marketer, we buy the top players, but now when Chelsea co here, use data. The top players are more potential to come. Yeah. So now, a bit baby, no, you won't see Chelsea buying directly from England teams. The only players that they will buy quick fixes. And there is a reason why Amateur Strasbourg, and they are also hoping to get another club that will be a sister club to Chelsea in Portugal.
Yes.
Now, if you look at whatever they are doing, how Frankfurt for the last time Frankfurt for how Mutomu players.
Yeah.
Or more data, no. If they want a player like Caicedo, they enter in the attributes, the age, the height, how they want the player. They can get 20 to 25 players or more pay. Yeah. Then they will send scouts to go and scout all these players. Then they will select top 10. That top 10 or may sign a thorough, investigation, scouts in this animal to see normal selected the Ombefa. Then they work on the scanning BBB at the normal age, and these are young players. So when they came in, apart from Sterling first year, and they wanted to make statements that they have come. No? All the signings they've been making, players who are under 22, young players they know that Uba na anye we will also sell you and get something on top as a profit. So all the players none of them and omotona below the amount they spent on that player. Yeah. Chuku Emeka, they bought him 20 million from Aston Villa. About just 30 games in the Premier League for Chelsea, no share 2 goals. And now Martin with 24 million, 4 million profits. And then again, almost also told Chukwemeka any other team. There's a sell-on clause. They also get some percentage from Scan. Yes. See what they did with Renato Vega. So with them, the Chelsea culture will change. The name is Abramovich. It's my first car. No, could break it real quick. I Torres at the Liverpool. We are not going to see that. There might be some notable signings. Yes, of course, it is Chelsea. But then, how they are going to do? No, Chelsea will always be in the news when it comes to selling of players. Now, last year, team that they are notable teams. For the past 7 years, they've been in the selling market. Benfica, I want to play Moton Enzo. They sold
Joao
Felix. A lot of players.
Joao Neves,
a lot of players. Even player by Liverpool. Darwin Nunes.
Yes.
If you go to Atlanta, they are from Dupin, Zapata, there are a lot of players from their ranks. Ayas, and also Brighton and Hove Albion. Recent times, they so also that kind of business. So, it's very incredible. Say Chelsea since 2022, making spending to 200 million. In fact, they have a lot of players they are going to sell.
Yes.
Sterling,
Chilwell, 1 billion.
Nicholas Jackson, Disasi, Nkuku, a lot of players. And I think that the Chelsea culture will change, but what these owners say, they have to bring that winning mentality. Me as a fan, so we'll be a selling club. You'll be a big club, but also selling for other teams. Business, because on moment I say, Ubana Beka first in the one, untouchable, like the Coupames, like the Caicedo, and like the Endo Fernandez.
Yeah.
These are players are definitely they are up there as world class players and players are very good in
yeah.
European standard currently. But Oba now when me and break it through, then we will sell you. So that will be the other marketing aspects and also things that every team in Swenyeska. Yeah.
Yes, in the Nicolas Jackson in same Nicolas Jackson there, favorite player no intino. And they may share asema or the baba. Now I think the transfer no one corner bra based on say teams ni be peno. But Sika Chelsea they are tone so any Sika Chelsea who so bet me any free no one about a problem. Into share the likes of Aston Villa, the likes of Newcastle, or my friend Chelsea, even AC Milan. Any Chelsea mo didn't come out. They are looking at getting Nicolas Jackson into their team. And never any agent Kamara. Ne NSMB or they are also ACC no about a lot of we bois or media space no. About bois in the media space. And then me say me honest opinion about Kamara message no. Na me bisa as a Chelsea fan from one aspect, as a Nicolas Jackson fan, do you think message ni right? But I mean read the message and send you be OTA and so beti me I then. Ati message ni be no hu. Inti message ni 30 goals in 2 seasons, no penalties, highs, lows, but the page is 10 at Chelsea. Grateful for yesterday, focus on tomorrow with optimize. Germany and other options are numerous. Decision, immuse, transfer expected within 48 hours. Inshallah. Kamara message or the Bontini. And I think say message carries two ways. One year he's disappointed in Chelsea. That is what I see. He's disappointed in Chelsea because
disappointed
Kamara is disappointed in Chelsea. One, because of Felice, this is a young chap which mirror Chelsea team. No, I said 30 goals in 2 seasons. And 30 goals in 2 seasons, no who say is one of the best, especially when it comes to strikers level in the Premier League. But the page has turned. Nicolas Jackson didn't come match this squad. Nicolas Jackson in even a minute to play. The last time a boy was back in the FIFA Club World Cup in the semi-final. Untimi a minute for Chelsea. And if you say tables have turned in a way that it doesn't favor his player, it doesn't favor him as an agent. In TNA or man Nicolas Jackson fans, Okahumbi say within the next 48 hours, mu player no benya team abo. Me ba me see 2 sides ma me within the next 48 hours obenya team abo no nya team so bo a obi a ho beto no. And Chelsea so beto no because almost obejiska. And wa state wa said there are people coming in Germany, other countries, England, Italy, baby omo be move for the player and they trade the quality equity the player. The second aspect, I'm a bit disappointed in Kamara comment way. Time Nicolas Jackson jine mu bomber Chelsea or say chances. Chelsea fans ibo ebo nechi ebo the blue cope name your friends and Todd Bowley mune egbali mochino. Na owen. Because as an agent, Indra, anytime we are more apart who go kitika actual. Indra, obi ohwe Liverpool game no. Na metesa rumors we bana minjindi but Indra during the Liverpool game no. The commentator make that same statement. Who go kitiki? Moving to last 2 seasons and non performance in your top of Frankfurt, Wako for 2 personal trainers. In Frankfurt first season na nko yi no. Okofa 2 personal trainers. Okofa 2 chefs. Any one external trainer or chain finishing. Any nyama bebre. And making sure say ni aim ni so betimi abo a big club into that season that's 2024-2025 season of ball Frankfurt ye na ehu ye say sika no spending on personal trainers on chef on a diet any other external football analysis on money data no e show ye oba 2024-2025 season ye hu performance or dan e di ma Frankfurt or she just 15 goals but I think say o performance or dan e do of Frankfurt even in the Europa League ni nyama it shows say player na ready so person improve e move to a big club we asim ha e na me no so no e no timi move to Liverpool ene 3 official games o abo Liverpool 3 nini na wabo goals inti Kamara Nicolas Jackson first season oba Chelsea obo double figures in goals no be any age the second season ye na enim ye hwe ball nimpo we chi no ye hu se da bi player no olaki nyama ba ku mienu ye complaining ye player ne like say you the finishing in ye eba na rival eba no link up play bi owo but the finishing in ye obo short as ne nan ye ne ya ni bibia eba no finishing eba no heading eba no ball striking enye. So as an agent going into the second season no if you to be na the ma player no mame nkope personal trainer ma mame nkope analysis ma.
So I want to ask, do you know say he has a personal trainer? No, I want no untimi ka say you don't know.
In terms say me ba mame wie.
Do you know that he has a personal trainer? And you see the reason why me ba money say let me tell you something.
Mame summarize
Kiran Gill, let me come in because coach now my report say Onyanka asem no. Let me come in. Listen. The quote now did just your analysis. No? There's been reports say and your quote from Kamara. So
say you quote from Kamara.
No, listen.
From Kamara.
What I want to tell you is
I'm not basing.
Okay. I want you to listen. Say there's been quote Abase. Say. And they are saying say Jackson representatives Onyanka. So that is what I want to let you know. Say Onyanka be saying.
I'm not basing it on the quote impo. I'm not basing it on the quote. In terms of quote, no. I'm basing it on it. Say, Nicolas Jackson first season on my double figures. Last season on my lesser than the previous season.
Was it double figures?
There be on my lesser goals than the previous season.
Also, last 2 seasons on my double figures.
It was double figures, but it was lesser.
So I asked the question.
Yes, but it was lesser.
How many goals? How many goals on the first season?
It was lesser.
How many?
So it was lesser. It was lesser and it was lesser and more.
So I'm asking a question. How
a person who said it was less and I
but me say so provide to them the numbers.
Ma ashe 4 numbers now when you now for the one who say Nicolas Jackson you can answer my
provide to them the numbers.
Mama Nicolas Jackson numbers is here.
First season she 14 goals.
Okay.
Last season she 10 goals. It provided 5 assists.
With the overall po. We no lake pie yes no. Into overall last season she 17 goals 6 assists. Season year train
striker she 17 goals.
On my 13 goals.
Chelsea team.
Me ba 17 me ba.
No, I'm asking. Who do you make this question?
Me ba ma me wie. They will 17 goals no be ti obeka say bi awabo 10 matches bi no 17 goals in yen si na konkon. About 44 matches no share 17 goals.
No provided how many assists?
6 assists.
Okay.
44 no provide or share 17 goals. Last season about 37 no share 13 goals.
Okay. How many assists?
6 assists. You know 6 assists no to move one on them.
Now let's look into
Mami wie. Tell you my numbers. So
we are check Chelsea team no.
Yen check Chelsea team bia obia when you roll about dem go for decisive be compare.
I'm not someone man can say yen check Chelsea strikers no go perform this year.
Christopher Nkunku last season no go say
the goals they scored last season. Strikers no go perform this year.
No na me memo apa go ekitika acho no.
Let me so I ask the question. You see your analysis now.
Inti Kamara as an agent me obi eni open Nicolas Jackson asem.
Man ka Kamara asem. I'm saying say they are saying say that quote no
fake. Enye quote asem. O de ma me quote no. Ye disregard the quote no. Ene me obi eni open Nicolas Jackson asem say me because me who say Nicolas Jackson a player bia he could come and replicate Didier Drogba here or Chelsea. And time of father number 15 Jesse Meniji because me himself with time obey me moving from 15 to 11 na just on Drogba partner so. And I wasn't expecting Nicolas Jackson to kick the ground running from season 1 there be. But I was expecting him to play that role. It would be a good addition to the Chelsea setup. But then Oshe player na and yes Chelsea for ejana to baby o. Performance, the discipline of the player, anyhow he can adapt to competition, and about a lot of problem on Chelsea team this year. Me can wa has Chelsea kofa Liam Delap by so Umbrano ni Nicolas Jackson in be pembo. But adi okoye wo the FIFA Club World Cup na me no so and omde kofa João Pedro by. Say João Pedro so Mbrambe boa. João Pedro by no. In his first game, or show say yes. Striking position e bi mu di agro me be so mu a me njai ho and wetimi ada na di oba Chelsea the number of goals a wahye and the number of chances a wonya wetimi prove to Enzo Maresca say nei o ma me enough chance me share enough goals amount Inti say nay say Kamara statement no.
Yeah,
can't say
we shouldn't bring
meba ya can't say
they say it's fake.
fake. But I want to also put myself in Kamara's shoes. Say first season in Yamankoye, in the second season as an agent, your player is playing one of the biggest club in the world, that is Chelsea. Into tuyeben amoye. Into tuyeben and amoye a boa player no. And then I would be very happy as a Chelsea fan, as someone who likes African players. So make me a bomb boy doing him say Nicolas Jackson, bet me call the likes of Bayern Munich, bet me call the likes of Aston Villa, bet me call the likes of Newcastle to also prove a point. But time be make us say with talent is not enough. Talent ain't enough. Into all talent, you know, who be no one for hard work na nka when you football pe we are seen na enye enough. Into say Nicolas Jackson ebe fa Chelsea in same way akoso because it got to some time no feel say Chelsea team no obi eni ho betimi etu no. Oni ma gi mu ne we nkunku na epre. Into pra koba oba bebo. Ene their options. My only problem I have with Nicolas Jackson, I want him to learn. They say, "Uko a club, surely there will be competition unless it's not a big club. Into any club, Nicolas Jackson be movie in the next days to the transfer window, never end. No, he should understand. Say, competition helps a player to grow. Competition helps a player to grow. Uhe João Pedro, any Liam Delapa, you could see say, Baku any nje, Baku so any Japan." And it shows the competition level. But the ninja emba and show in games and show outside the mobile who say acquire competition and that is what I want him to do. I like him as a player. And I'm praying say he gets a good club and Bibia betimi akoya man on so betimi iden abon modern. But Kamara as an agent, the statement is true or not, I want you to advise your player. Because Nicolas Jackson about to say uko and they want to say nurse akatisi so one lucky or some go back to Senegal na akwa on the ball inti asema metimi aka o bibi kana na mento aso
so bit to your transfer
into Nicolas Jackson bibi anka
na say player na clear that a lot of top class penal and I'm sure say you now make a statement. I'm sure say whatever you are saying they said it's fake. So whether it's fake or it's not fake, this is a code.
But me kai pass out now show you so ka say strikers at Chelsea akofa beni na mu bie no betimi to Nicolas Jackson.
It's not about obie no obetu Nicolas Jackson.
Akofa last season numbers.
Let me tell you something. The thing is, if you compare players, I had two players na normal can. Na ye can. At that time, none of them had come to Chelsea. And this is a player. It's not like say Chelsea Air Force move.
Na when Air Force move.
Player no. They've signed two strikers. And two strikers now. Let me tell you, if they haven't been conversations if a move back, they should let him go. Can you tell me say he won't be part of the Chelsea squad?
Boy.
He will be part of if I don't lam the lap no, what should go on?
Maybe.
No, man, fine, yeah, stick. The reason why, let me tell you something. The reason why he's not being with the squad because there's been an agreement. If move back, because so currently they are pursuing a move for him. But do you coach if anywhere, if right now transfer market no. Exclusive. No,
he'll be a Chelsea player.
Yes, that is what I'm telling you. So him not playing as a now, a different situation because of
question back. So, if Nicolas Jackson contribution to the Chelsea team is so valuable to Enzo Maresca.
Why?
Apart from Onya a player or man something similar or more to Nicolas Jackson and Kenny.
So that is what I'm telling you. Say when Jackson came, he started on a very good note. I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm happy that Yebo game. Now Joao Pedro Sugar. Yeah, winning. I'm happy that Liam Delapsha winning. All they have to do is that if you are shipping in Nicolas Jackson or qua, the players they have to be the reason why mechanics say if you look at Omuna Mesanomo Bar playing for Chelsea, these players Jackson Eba, nobody any high hopes in Manu. But in the first season, he made people got that hope for him. So what I'm saying is we can lose Nicolas Jackson and having Joao Pedro in the first
something similar.
And I cited several examples. Say this is Nicolas Jackson now. And anytime I am a person what kind of story. Who decide two strikers now? That is any American say me person me there no be yastic. But Oba Chelsea, a player Oba Europe, a short term in Europe, Oba Chelsea in the first season. Oba let me finish my point. Obesha 14 goals in the season. And ye na hope in the second season. And commit me, I improve it. Then when Timmy Ama the numbers he had in the first game, now there's a lot of competition about, and the player also want playing time. So if the agent, any team never make sure, oh, if we want to sell a player, and it's, in fact, the valuation at Chelsea for a Chama player no, also tells you that he's a player or more financing from now 70 to 80. Yeah. If they don't get that deal, they will still integrate into the team to go and fight for the position. And what I'm always saying is that Joao Pedro can start on a very good note. Baby, no. Never bet me as a son. He's a striker. He's a player last season. He scored 10 goals. A 5 was penalty, but he was playing for Brighton and Hove Albion. And this is Chelsea who have a lot of creators.
Yes.
But if he doesn't improve, he can still have good numbers this season. Following season, young players on by Chelsea first 10 games, they were scoring. They were the fan favorites. But since Neymar Etenia, that is where
football.
So if Jackson is moving, the agent will have rights, even if that statement
is true or not. Yes.
Yes. If I'm the agent, I will always come and promote my player, because in as much as people believe that what's their chances, no, this is a player that you believe is a who go critique. What nam PSG. Yeah. But yes, to the agent, they believe. I have a picture with agent when he was very young. They believe that he has the potential. But this is anytime I can say Mika Jackson, I had a person.
The emotions.
Yes, and your emotions. But if only they play on the background, you know that 2-3 years come, none of these strikers or more Chelsea will be better than him. That is what. Yes.
You need to work into the future. So
and even currently, Obia and she goes and saying, in as much as I say chance, Obia no or she goes saying.
This is the Chelsea fan be
easy.
Who comment section. Chelsea fan be a catch or say. But
Jackson Byron started same thing. The first two Premier League games.
And they yes Chelsea.
Now
yes Chelsea. Ferran we friend saying
Fermin
Lopez. And they Chelsea at 50 million. Akoma Basa for so munya player no more pay. Now, nam person me no dim come on. Osha, would it affect Xavi Simons coming to Chelsea? And now Xavi Simons coming to Chelsea now so difficult to the extent that they are looking at Fermin Lopez also coming to Chelsea.
Sir, when international Chelsea, me Fermin Lopez is coming as a number 8, number 10. It's the same role.
Yes, as Palmer.
To me, I don't believe. I think there's our transfer mind games now.
They are trying to
man lives
push
fireman so but me to me between Fermin Lopez and Xavi Simons, I always pick Xavi Simons. Fermin Lopez actually said he's that man from bit mama goes from long range. But you see, if you look at 50 million for Fermin Lopez, he's a very good, although on shadowing a starter in the Barcelona setup. But with Xavi Simons, but with experience from Barca Youth Academy to PSG to PSV and now to the Bundesliga. Yeah. To me, any day I'll pick Xavi Simons ahead of Fermin Lopez. So from my point of view, Medi Bonechi, I mean locally and Mihun say mind games.
Okay.
Before the transfer. And even if Fermin Lopez be back I don't think Zebe blocking the move for
Xavi Simons.
Yes, Zebe blocking the move for Xavi Simons.
Okay. TNC me a bit more Liverpool.
Yeah. Yes. Liverpool game money man Enra. I mean exciting game from the fans, the players, actions, goals, comeback, surprises and everything. I mean yeah.
Yes, I think so. On the night, I think everything we're expecting to happen this year. No, I say Liverpool are one team. They are conceding a lot this season, and I wouldn't be surprised if they would also concede on the night. It shows them the aggressiveness and that game. And I think St. James Park fans even when their team were 2 goals down, which means still the crowd were cheering every pass from the Newcastle team and make us a mabaso. And you go into the game, the game ain't a lot of action. To me, on a normal day, it was a boring game tactically for me. But on the night, with the aggressiveness of the players, made the game exciting.
Okay.
I didn't make us say total shot at 2 teams in our boy in the game was 15 short depending on boy. On target for Liverpool Air 4 and on target for Newcastle Air 3. Newcastle were more shot on the night as in Liverpool. It shows how tactically the game was not balanced. And now you share passes and fouls taking more center stage of the game. Newcastle committee 17 fouls, Liverpool committee 15 fouls. Into Kamboma almost getting to 30 plus fouls committed on the night. That shows the aggressiveness about into the game. Corners, I were expecting a lot of corners because these two teams are tactically good. They'll give us a lot of corners. No, we had just 8 corners. Into a 8.5 corners into Miambo. So if I'm saying that the game wasn't that tactically disciplined, and I can pese me from both sides, Eddie Howe, the way he performed, and also Einstein.
No, but
the way he's
I mean with Newcastle, I think say if like I said tactically game wasn't displayed. Eddie Howe, although he's a very good coach, but how question the team be whenever he meets big teams near, that is how they play. They are aggressive and they rely on long balls because and also they don't know.
Yes.
They rely on set pieces. And then Arsenal will play all the good football, but it doesn't result in a goal for them. And now on the corner and I set piece go. So with Newcastle, it is something that I was expecting to say they will be that aggressive. And you know about ball like effort. They will just be aggressive and search for the goal. When you go now, then they will try. But I didn't see Newcastle setting back.
They were willing to play, which I think say a red card, no, and a change of game. But
even when they had the red card,
when they had the red card, they were willing to come out. But I think there's a lot of question marks on Einslot's team this season. In TNA's when we say on for say they are not tipping them to win the Premier League. I think I'm understanding a lot of people. At the Inter Maker say in their last 2 games, my boy, they've conceded 4 goals. And those 4 goals are my conceding. And just say maybe Liverpool are 7 and a team na ba 2. It's when Liverpool are leading 2-0. Na team na ba titi. Na ba last minute pressure for them. And Adebako Amehuni said Liverpool, if they are playing this same style of play against the likes of Chelsea, against the likes of Arsenal, I remember this weekend, against the like of Manchester City, uko 2 goals up, na team ne at the momentum beti 2 or be by 4. And that is something I say I slot ne Mbranti and eso mutimishe. Yenhwe start kakra on possession recovery before interception for Liverpool game na course no. Na eno na be ma hwefo ate ase de empese meche no. The middle of their pitch aba be too easy to penetrate amame. Yehu against Bournemouth Semenyo ade omoye ho, and even against Newcastle the way Ajolinton mo any tonali mu so ye wo.
Yesterday I said it here with Newcastle game no, there's no way Liverpool will dominate the game.
Yes.
Although we are not mabem.
Okay. It is a virus the possession recovery ni beto so amaya na afide ahwefo nso etimi hu de ebe di hu nkomo no. Na yes, enne da so no. Inti uhwe start e wa ha. Uhwe start e wa ha kakra. Yenhwe metrics no. Boss ahen Liverpool lose from possession on the night pill was 55. Possession omutimi lose ye. Omutimi recover move from open play 20. Na possession recovery 36%. After losing possession or recover no 36%. And omutimi ye. Players omu lose possession a lot on the game. 1 Kekes lose 7. Mohamed Salah lose 6. Ekitike lose 6. Gakpo lose 5. And na Alisson Becker lose 5. And na we find is Kunate lose 4. Kunate the end crucial.
Yeah.
Anke ya costume. Play your ball home to recover most of their balls. You play a friend who Gravenberch and na Kunate or no suit me recover 4. Osha on the left side near possession, baby omulusu possessions. And na baby omutimi recover possessions. And the wall on the left side. And on the right, baby omutimi recover without not with the ball. Osha, there are more of Gravenberch positions. And omutimi recover those balls. And I think that going forward, last season I slot no a coach bia. A ban say game management. He was one of the best in the Premier League last season. Into a no be Liverpool games last season. No say Liverpool back 2 goals up. No the 70th minute, no the end aba. No ba be jinem finfi won twankwa no mu make sure say ball nem pa ne ho. But this season in 2 games, even in 3 games, one for Crystal Palace game nen count. In 3 games, so mama who say if Liverpool are leading by 2 goals scrana, you can't be certain say they will go on and even win the game with a clean sheet. Which about be a big concern, especially going into this weekend against Arsenal. Arsenal a team be a Vincent omun lose by a 2 or more goal margin. Inti ene say Liverpool be so mu 2 na, meaning that Arsenal can come back and win the game, which I think Ancelotti and Brandt, I know is a new team. They are trying to put things together. Say be on beating my team now more balanced and more compact going into the season. But I think say there are a lot of question marks. Even though say they won the game by a brilliant performance by their young chapper, I think say something are going forward. They need to perform so well. About the Premier League, a team watch last minute goals to win games. Liverpool. Last minute goals to win games, Liverpool, because they are something on my yard to us. So now they've won game during the last minute. Maybe we need 46. Team also second year Arsenal 34, Man United 32, Tottenham 32, and Chelsea 29. So meaning that Liverpool are scoring last minute goals, and I think that to win the league defensively you need to be solid. You shouldn't concede much. But I think that it was a good game for Ancelotti. It was a good game for. We're trying to say Eddie Howe, and I think going forward, no, they need to solve their strikers issue. And then the rumor say, of course, when they say Alexander Isak still why not say Newcastle team no Vincent, can be as a number. And then I think say they need to come up with a solution. I'm gonna stand last in home, but Wolves is one who said now you are desperate for a striker, so you need to increase your amount. So I think the Newcastle, they need to solve their strikers issue, and if they can play the way they played against Liverpool. I don't know say if it was the type of hatred performance and a non-person put it up, but if they can carry that same zeal in all their games, they can qualify for Europe. And I think say on the night, both teams performed so well. It was bad on the side say Anthony Gordon Timina that red card, because Senka that red card and bar. I think the games party ni bibia bet me and Newcastle would have had the upper hand. But I think that this fixture one of the most exciting fixtures in 3 consecutive meetings. Last 2 seasons, Liverpool in a red card with Van Dijk, and Darwin Núñez every bench about 2 goals. In the last fixture, course one sana we no, a take share last minute goal no, they share na 3-3. Into a net in draw game in who 3-2. It shows a Liverpool. Newcastle are one of the most blockbuster game at the Premier League is giving us. I think say we will wait for everything on the Alexander Isak issue, and Newcastle needs to get a striker. Now Eddie Howe's waiting me and the team not up and running at all.
Yeah, I think so. Yesterday it was a very good game. This is how in game talked about the Premier League.
Yes.
And this was a game. I wasn't as if say be a Newcastle and Liverpool for no right. Some bitter rivals.
Yeah.
But if you look at game now, it was a game that Newcastle were going to the game with a team at least their best player or more than New Liverpool for Kwakufan. So the tennis and you play an case and so when they were playing the game, anytime be a who go kitike na mekambo biano, there were a lot of bulls. And in fact, right from the onset, time and Liverpool fans no bars ne bar that safe zones holding nano, there were fans there and so I saw the videos like Charlie Newcastle for the moment media group. From the blast of the whistle, they made noise and you see and Adibia say Adibia, because when you go to Anfield, whether would top player, won't top player, Anfield for you did.
Yes.
So it is something that is in football. So Newcastle players they played to the noise, to the cheer of Omo fans to give them that energy. And then I said it here. Say, looking at how Nemekono, I mentioned it and I predicted seeing Szoboszlai playing as the right back, because if Senka McAllister woman and call, but maybe in committee might drop pick at Jones, but they needed somebody with that intensity, somebody who can run and come back. And when Szoboszlai was in the game, our build up was different. When they are building up, you see Szoboszlai going to the midfield to create overload for them. But then the intensity, the aggressiveness, Joy Linton, Bruno Guimaraes, Masa, Akwaluni Bobo Bruta, and Abrante Alessandro Tonali Di Bebono. It was going to always be a gamer. When we say Florian was going to be a mere passenger in the game, I mentioned it yesterday. Say game way any Florian game. If Jeremy Frimpong were here and Akeo Szoboszlai, it would have been a perfect square midfield battle. But then Gravenberch, he was lucky because if for Neymar and Kosan Kunya a second yellow card, he was lucky, and also Osanso enya goal na very difficult for Nick Pope to save that. And he back second half 16 seconds. Liverpool got the lead. Even when Liverpool share goal, no more head coach Iron Slot no Onyamba Park, so he was now coming to the field. And Liverpool share saw 2 goals no. Anthony Gordon red card no. Make or no already come back and say he was trying to bring the intensity because that ball no press here, and I think that late tackle was needless and it wasn't necessary for him to do that. So sometimes the emotions can get into you a positive impact, but at the same time in football it can also affect you. And Newcastle players no emotions no more positive as also affect you because the emotions help them to dominate the game. This was the game Liverpool winning by 3 goals to 2. But then if you look at the expected goals, if you look at the expected goals for the team, Newcastle was 0.9 and Liverpool was 0.7. Newcastle bought 10 shots, Liverpool bought 5. And then in terms of possession, Liverpool dominated the game. Yes, but you see, and no, be a game be able Newcastle for or more presence and something they are missing. A striker. And if they had a typical box striker, they would have been up by 2-3 goals in the first half. So when they were squandering the chances, almost as a chances, when I was watching the game, I mentioned the least chance Liverpool Bejano. Newcastle Manu Enzi and a graphic Magnas are born when a man I was like if Oshutua because that is football. And you see what the football church I won't say football script I can't say old players former players and I knew definitely say who Ekitike was going to score regarding the story behind whatever would transpire in the move to Newcastle, a block your call Liverpool, and now Liverpool are playing against Newcastle. Isaac M, but he's leading the attack for Liverpool. I knew he was going to score, and then war flags and Newcastle for message on the buyer. Nothing is achieved alone. We are a city, a whole population, and we are Newcastle United. So the players wanted to prove a point. When Bruno Gomares, Etikano, not born skin, I'm one of you. So and game Newcastle and you cannot blame them so much. Fans your mouth from there say we needed to win this game. We needed to prove a point. And you see, whatever Newcastle for any from when Saudi for the buy, they want to be a big club. When Abramovich came to Chelsea wasn't a big club then as a now. But Obayano or this Kabeshemu, he proved the point. Said, if you want to be like these people, we should act like these people. We don't have to sell our best players to them. So now, if Newcastle want to be part of the big six, they don't have to be selling their best players to the big clubs, and that is what they want to avoid. And even if they want to sell their player, they want to get a bidding war. In the game, Newcastle for no. Adeba kwesa so affect him say Joelinton Prae, Sandro Tonali Prae, and yet omudi nkran ba mu no usula eba mu benya ego a striker. They believe that onyandu that level to lead the attacking role, so that is why 2 games omebo Anthony Gordon any leading lines na momo. Now because of emotions and how they mini this game, they are going to miss 3 key players before the international break and even after the international break, because Gordon then was a straight red. It means they're going to miss 2 games. Yes, 3 games. Sandro Tonali, the player on it was on a shoulder injury. We don't know how bad is it, but then he will miss some few weeks. Sandro Tonali, another important player. I'm missing 3 key players. In fact, 4.
And Patrick Shea.
Yeah, Fabian Shea. On your head injury, but then even if Omulu they have Tiao inside, he's another player. Yeah. But then, if these players are not going to play their next game, means that they are going to miss 4 key players. These are 5. They had all the spectrum of emotions in that game. They did very well. And then, when Usola shared the second goal to take a game, I was like, football script. I see Liverpool scoring the last minute goal. And this is the football script. And in time American can say football no what the church sometimes we should get not even say BBC bit Messi. When Newcastle was dominating the first half and almost had chances, I knew Liverpool was going to score. The least chance at Liverpool Benyano. I know we didn't have such chances on the share. And then again Newcastle came into the game. So we are Newcastle fan. Imagine the fans after going down 2-0 coming back to equalize. Imagine they didn't the energy and emotions that the players will get. So they just wanted to win the game to prove a point and also affect them because at that time we bought 10 against 11. How about to take a few minutes and see the time and the player who scored the winning goal and the sequence Liverpool scored that goal. All the 11 players and the 11 players will be attached ball 1 or 2 times before Dominic Szoboszlai before Obey Dam Nana Akabo, it is also part of the process. A man Rio Ngumoha, that winning goal, 16 years, 361 years. Akabe 4 to 5 days. Now we had 17 years. And the time Obemu winning the game for Liverpool made the script so good. And my football script in any time they happen because we've seen this before, especially last season.
And I think Liverpool Omo games in now, the Obeba Beshe goal and mom they crucial. Last time you Chiesa coming in to get them that goal and Mohamed Salah the twice. So
Newcastle there, I won't blame them too much. I mean they played the game and you say whenever you go to St. James, that is how the atmosphere is. But then no, they had some as no more before and the results here inside Anthony Gordon red card. No, did team. But then no. If they are able to get their striker back and Omoton strikers, I think that Newcastle going to St. James Park will still be a difficult ground for them. Various rating the video now to say, after the game, Newcastle for chairman, who is the leader of the PIF for now, majority holders of Newcastle, say Yasel Arumian, Medican can say on time if you game, the last time we watched Newcastle game was St. James was way back in February. And obviously Newcastle game be or Wembley, but Oba St. James Park was way back in February, and then now buy the minority owner of Newcastle, the Jamie Rubins. He was also there to a year end. And then now report in say Jamie Rubins, any one of board directors he is an European invest on a Uber PIF for no investments and operations in Europe. Yes, or no any Jacob a year. Solis me hwe se virus betimi do no de na to so papa na ono so gina ho ba ko no ono ne Jacobo Solis. He's somebody they appointed to be part of a Newcastle board of directors. And no papa we any the young lad na ogina papa na board say a grade no. So the na board say a grade no and the chairman of PIF for no or that Newcastle to go back kon the Abramovich of a Newcastle team no. Yasel Arumian. He's somebody who had a very good relationship with Isaac and operates Akasemi pa. On the case Impuna in Newcastle. And now Brandon Ojan that young play, he's a Newcastle fan and no any holding that 15% stake in Newcastle. So Jamie Rubins any opinion on the board no Jacobo Solis Echo Isako and Nicodim before the game about the player joining them and that contract extension. Mami and then Amanda Stavely and then have it wasn't on paper and DNA. Paul Mitchell came in went to Mama. They want to extend the contract and they will put in gentleman agreements if the player wants to leave next 2 years. The right team will have to come and bid for them, and at that time they will have a player to replace him. Now they made a statement saying they are playing the Champions League and it's an integral part of the team currently. If Okwa a better damage team and then it show clear say they need a striker, not just any striker. They need a striker,
world class one,
prolific striker. That is the project Newcastle for the air. After the game, Savara is waiting the video now to show that video was Yasel Arumian, who is the president, any Rubin. Any Jacobo in Newcastle paying for the board of directors in Asia coaching say Uncle Train no on anyone come because they are finding ways and means they can integrate Alexander Isak into the team, because they know people close to the board of directors say nkomodi no mo no mkoye no akwakoye say nkomo ebufuba promise and fail bibia etaisi. So they want to have ways and means to integrate Alexander Isak, and if Isak Ebal money man, it will be just simple. Supporters no, he will bring an order. Or start here a training. There will be an apology from Isak to the supporters, or start to be but when about 2-3 games on they will fall in love. And the last time Steven Gerrard, when Oni Mourinho ne Chelsea mu agree BBN Newcastle for no threaten so ko join the ombiku na busu for osanso bet na e. And when it comes to transfers, Amadi can say we as a monument obiara ni interest.
Yes.
Senka Isak Asa and anka Newcastle for pamona. The fans don't be
supportive.
Yes, they won't support the player. Cause see come for Wisa Aba. And anka any striker bibo goes the supporters wouldn't care. Ebini the money man here Nicola Jackson, because they don't believe so many Joao Pedro many the lap, so they don't care whatever happens to Nicola Jackson. So Benya team or own your team. Sounds soon I say Jackson. What Chelsea nanka another club be bad no be kwa. The player doesn't care. So in this situation, if Isak in Nimbo, that is why he wants to move to a bigger club than Liverpool, and the fans are angry. Same thing happened to Cucurella. Anytime be at Chelsea, any Brentford and a Brighton be share biano. Obuhu Cucurella. But the Chelsea fans, they don't care. They don't care because Omako cover player number. Brighton didn't want to sell the player. The player wanted to move. Chelsea EBFA Scano. Scano and Brighton, but they paid the money. But the supporters, they were angry. They felt betrayed. Now this is the same thing. A player feel betrayed by the club and he wants to move. And then they and that is football. Football, people doing football, not obeying what kind of football. Once it is your interest, whether a benefit to the player, and benefit the club, the fans, they will always side with the club. They always want the players to stay. Until there are other players are Newcastle for Ashepium out, the clubs and the supporters they didn't care. But they care because Isak is a very good player. When Cucurella bought Chelsea, I know only bimbo because of Chiwo. See the way no OPA person own free team anymore. People thought say he was flop. Even Man U didn't want to sign a Chelsea flop because of what has been happening for the past few years. And son a player and ever be integrating home. So this issue with Isak and Newcastle, if he stays and he gets back into the team, I won't be surprised at all.
But do you think say the relationship between Isak and Eddie Howe and the fans, you know,
and
wouldn't be so toxic going into some integrating?
That is what I said earlier. Said player no, he's a the reason why fans need both because now this is a Newcastle fan, they don't want him to stay. Sad name no more is to threaten him to stay. Them there Liverpool for the Gerrard. Almost threatening. They were angry. But when you decide to stay now upon match, they will let things go. Because I'm more interested in saying, they just want the best for the club.
And they want
so
you to also
if Isak starts training with the team, be my friend a traitor, betray, why? Or be patch no about 2-3 games, no statistic goes. They will forget. Just like how Chelsea for not forgetting some years ago, say they wanted to ship Cucurella out. Now Raheem telling it, Chiwo then on your Chelsea. While Bob just that injuries and that money, and could do now he's not even playing with the team. So Seko in favor of the club, you will see their fans bashing the team, but the representatives. So one who say nay, even if Kamara issue no be because he believes that the Chelsea team are not being fair to Nicolas Jackson. That is another point of view. Because on the bench player, but as a Chelsea fan who doesn't care about one player, on fan whether they will sell you or they won't sell, because at this moment they have a player scoring. Now Chelsea fans, they still remember their legends, but now who is the talk of town? Who is their poster boy? They care more about Cole Palmer. Say Hazard beba Stamford Bridge a ball. Then they come and bet on so the people in some, but now they not some more personal. And on Beckham. Yes. So to me, the football transfer, any betrayal and loyalty. No, there's no loyalty in football. there's no loyalty in football business. If you can bring the money, you will sell the player. If the club wants the player,
they should pay.
They will try ways and means and keep the player. But if the player also insists that Charlie, me party my two zip anymore, I'm not going to play for this club anymore. The player can force a way to move, despite the fact that we lose some bonuses behind Kebeba now come. So now Newcastle, then there was a conversation between these two players. Now the final from now Kwesi Nyame Adoma Sunday transfer window will be close now. In Kwesi Friday there will be a communique whether the player will stay or not stay, because PI for now your money they also want Wissa from Brentford, and the situation with Wissa and Brentford is the same like Isak in Newcastle. Yes. He also wants to move from Brentford. He's not trained. Also in your training, are Newcastle fans bashing Omutim say why is it that Abraham don't go training? But yes, Brentford fans also they are hungry. So on Newcastle no according to my everybody any interest, fans no more interest, the club owners they have their interest, and right now Isak interest no will decide on whatever he wants to do, because of Felice promise be broke here and no make a decision. Now they are trying to persuade him to join them for at least this season, then because over 3 years if we decide I'm extend the contract now to 4 or 5, they will increase in Sikano right now from 120 to 300 plus, be the club top in the team next 2-3 seasons. If anybody wants to buy Alexander Isak, there will be a bidding war. Now common person beton can Liverpool £110 million about, they rejected it. So now a moment and say they need a striker. Team need their defense, their midfield, they will making some inclusions. But then it will be any interest, and from now to Friday, you be Alexander Isak. Newcastle for the watch or communicate now. They will the last 2 paragraphs, they are making sure that the door is still open for Isak and he's still their player and they are waiting for him to start training and play. Until Isak making that, you say finally, I'm making my dream about my Newcastle or Babe Pacho or Pani teammates, Pa coach natural. The coach will always be or say Isak is still their player, and whenever he's ready to come, they will let him join the team. Or start here to know Pacho will be a bit free because fans and money man will be any interest until far. Also,
and the Champions League playoffs ni busu twaso inti me 5 odds ene MYBET.AFRICA now so coach announce face cow. The first team Celtic game of Celtic win you have Stuttgart and so any Frankfurt bought DFB Pokal game and also Stuttgart win. Paphos any Red Star Belgrade Mema Paphos handicap of 2 to win and a Stormgrass any Bordeaux Glimt over 2.5 was our game code no 8V LY MYBET.AFRICA.
Right, my selection for the day and your friend Pasho. Just some few games built with that option. Odi gusu na waji. Enra minim se ma mucha game no. Bibina especially the Newcastle game, the options now the mam no. Yes, corners both seem to over 1.5 Munoz can see. And then my selection for the day no. The Champions League games Paphos any Krevna Vesda and a Real Start Belgrade game no over 2.5 goals in that game and double chance first half for Paphos. Stormgrass any Bodo Glimt over 2.5 goals in that game and a double chance first half for Bodo Glimt. Kiralt Almaty any Celtic Glasgow Ebebo over 1.5 goals in that game. Out of 7 odds to 100 CDBR.
No 700.
No bonus is that. Okay, can Korea 800 to 900. Into code no 4B LY. Yes. So this is code ntene koko joining Sports Arena.
Our Telegram.
Yeah, the bets now ya share and the link ni na betum. You just press on the link while you deposit. No watch your bet no fe. And they nyame admo na any share exactly the same time 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. na Yemfa Sports Arena and bro meeting at the Vincent o money man can list to boy chidom and the juma de ebro virus and it's time for the nechi e chinchim near mama bibia ekoi nyame admo na ensanso ni enhia na Yemfa Sports Arena no ensanso enfambrel.